let's talk about something we all know way too well, the constant struggle. You know, that feeling of always trying to push, to force, to make things happen in our lives. But what if there's a better way, a more effortless way? Okay, let's get into it. I mean, does this feel familiar? That deep, bone-tiring exhaustion from constantly pushing, planning, worrying, trying to get what you want? It feels like you're just swimming upstream, right? It's a battle so many of us are fighting, but it really doesn't have to be your story. And that's what we're going to explore today. There is a different path, and it's one that's all about release instead of resistance. It's a philosophy that teaches us not to just give up, but to actually get smarter with our energy and, stop being our own worst enemy. So let's start with a really mind-bending idea from the teachings of Abraham Hicks. The main idea is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Whatever it is you want, you don't have to wrestle it into existence. It's already been created. It's just, it's waiting for you to be ready to let it in. This right here is the heart of what Abraham Hicks calls the art of allowing. But, and this is super important, we have to reframe what allowing actually means. This is not about being passive or weak. No way. It's really a higher kind of strength, the strength to get out of your own way, to take down those inner walls of doubt, fear, and worry that are, they're the only things blocking what you want in the first place. And you know what's so fascinating is that this isn't some new age idea. We can see this exact same concept showing up in a tradition that's been exploring the mind for centuries, Zen Buddhism. In Zen, for example, they have a practice called shikantaza, which basically translates to just sitting. Think about it. A Zen master doesn't anxiously chase enlightenment. Instead, they create the perfect conditions for it to show up by simply being still, by letting the mind settle down. The whole point is to stop striving. This brings us to a beautiful, classic Zen metaphor for why striving just doesn't work. Imagine trying to hold water in a clenched fist. What happens? The harder you squeeze, the faster it all slips right through your fingers. And it's the same thing with life. The more tightly you cling to a specific outcome, the more you guarantee it's going to slip away. Okay, so to bring these two big ideas together, let's use a single metaphor. I want you to picture a river. And this river, it represents the flow of your life and everything that happens in it. So when you're in this river, you really have two choices. You can fight the current, you can thrash around, struggle, use up all your energy, and you'll just end up exhausted, probably in the exact same spot. Or you can choose to float. You can trust that the current is going to carry you exactly where you need to go. One is all about resistance. The other is all about release. So here's the kicker. Both of these traditions are really describing the exact same fundamental truth. They just use different words. Abraham Hicks calls it finding the path of least resistance. Zen calls it letting go of clinging. But at the end of the day, it's all about working with the flow of life, not fighting against it. And this is so important. This does not mean you do nothing. Zen has this amazing concept for it called wu-wei, or effortless action. And this is the key. It's about taking action, for sure, but not from a place of frantic panic. It's about acting from a state of calm, of natural alignment, where the right thing to do just feels easy and obvious. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how in the world do we actually put it into practice? In our busy, chaotic lives? Well, it really just comes down to a simple 3-step process. Here are 3 simple things to practice. First, pause and breathe. Your own tension, that's your signal. Just learn to notice that feeling of gripping on too tight. Second, trust the timing. You've got to let go of the when. Just because what you want hasn't shown up yet doesn't mean it's not on its way. And third, focus on alignment. You need to shift your energy from that frantic, desperate effort to a feeling of inner calm. A peaceful mind is like a magnet. A desperate one just pushes things away. And here's the good news. You don't need hours and hours for this. Both philosophies suggest a small, consistent practice. Abraham Hicks recommends about 15 minutes of meditation. Zen masters suggest just sitting quietly. The goal is exactly the same, to intentionally practice letting go for just a little bit each day. This chart really shows you the energy shift we're talking about. Look at striving. It's high effort and it meets high resistance. It's literally like pushing a huge boulder uphill. Allowing, on the other hand, is low effort that finds a high degree of flow. It's like riding a wave. You're making a conscious choice to move from a state of friction to a state of grace. To kind of put it in the specific language of each philosophy, Abraham Hicks would say you're aligning your emotional state, your vibration, with the feeling of what you want. Zen would say you're returning to emptiness. And that doesn't mean nothingness. It means a mind that's open and clear because it's empty of all that striving. The words are different, but they're both pointing to the same place, a state of pure potential. So, if you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The art of allowing is not about giving up. It's not about being passive or just resigning yourself to whatever happens. It's an active, powerful choice to stop fighting and start aligning. It's about trusting that the universe, or life itself, is fundamentally on your side. And that leaves us with one last question for you to think about. Think about your life, your goals, your biggest desires. What incredible things might already be on their way to you? Just waiting for that moment when you finally relax your grip and simply allow them to arrive.